With a shovel in hand, she roams the universe, exploring every land, no map, no reverse. Oh, dig a 420, curious Canuck. Answers on your mind, never getting stuck. Riding waves of stars through the cosmic sea, finding who we are in the galaxy. She's got questions to ask and a fire that won't die, unraveling each task under the sky. Oh, dig a 420, curious Canuck. Answers on your mind, never getting stuck. Riding waves of stars through the cosmic sea, finding who we are in the galaxy. She's got questions to ask and a fire that won't die, unraveling each task under the sky. Oh, dig a 420, curious Canuck. Answers on your mind, never getting stuck.
Because, Hi, everyone. How you doing? It is 4:00 on Thursday. It's already Thursday. We were having that discussion earlier, and I think 7 days is exactly enough days in the week. One more would be, or more would be too much in a week, and less would just be too fast. So, hello, everyone. Thursday evening, afternoon for me, wherever you are, whatever time it is. Today, it's about you guys. I'm here to chat with the chat. So, whatever tickles your fancy, whatever topics seem to be most up, on you guys' minds, that's what we'll talk about. Hello, Bad Dazzer. How you doing? And MJ, good to see ya. And we've got Just Grace. Good to see ya. And Fill Some Holes. Hello again. Right on. So yeah, I did a reading stream this morning, and I finished Prepare, the Handbook for Individual Freedom by my friend Stephen Gosney. So we finished that. I'm going to take next Thursday morning off because I'm having a hard time finding copies of hard copies of books. Well, okay, Dazzer, whatever tickles your fancy within reason. YouTube friendly. Let's do that. But yeah, I'm having trouble finding hard copy covers of books, which I'd prefer to have. It's just me. I like to have the book in my hand. And as I was having conversations with someone else, old books have smells. They have distinct, unique smells. And yeah, I don't know. I prefer to have the book in my hand. So, hello, AP. How you doing? A Bible study for a while today? Sure. Yeah, this one's all about you guys. So whatever you want to touch on, I guess. That goes down quick. You're learning. I know, right, Dazzer? I am learning. Yep. Got to keep it YouTube friendly. That's a much better clarification. Anything that tickles your fancy within YouTube's friendly, ideas. We actually today, while we were finishing up Prepare, there was quite a few Bible quotes actually. In that last section we were reading were just quotes that have become important for one reason or another in Steve's life. And there's quite a few Bible quotes. He's a very devout. He's a Catholic. Um, and he's sorry, I've got another frog in my throat. It's been there all day. Yeah, I'd hoped by now I'd have quit smoking for long enough that some of that would have gone away, but apparently not yet. Oh, AP, you're having a tough one today, eh? That sucks. Yeah, it sucks when you're having a bad one. I'm kind of waiting. It really does. It cannot decide what it wants to do today, and the humidity levels is like up here. It's not great. I wish it would just decide. And if it's going to rain, rain and get it over with. If it's not going to rain, can we just clear up this kind of, what is it? It's like a bubble of humidity that just sucks. Hello, Mr. Q. How you doing? It can take 2 years after packing and smoking. Oh, okay. So a few months is not. I'm impatient then, is what you're saying. Fair enough. Okay. I am doing as part of my workouts, I'm doing more than just the walking now. So I've got about 14 minutes, exactly 14 minutes of strength training that I can do before I do my walking. And then I've got some yoga that I can do as well. And at some point I'll be able to do, I think I've got a half an hour each of strength yoga. And then the walking is in half-hour increments. So I'd like to get back to the point where I was at a few years ago, where I was actually doing all 3 of them every day. I'm nowhere near that point yet, but I'm finding I've got a lot of free time now that I'm not dodging outside for a cigarette. And I can either, instead of doing that, I can dodge that way and eat and nibble food all day long, or I can dodge that way and work out instead, right? Let's replace old bad habits with new good habits, right? Hi, Bishop. How you doing? Yes, I am. I'm basically waiting for thunderstorms. Yeah. It really cannot decide. See, now it's getting bright and sunshiny again. It just cannot decide what it wants to do. And in the meantime, we just sit here in this humid, hot bubble. Although it's not as hot as the last few days. I can actually wear a t-shirt, which is, kind of nice. My aircon is not running constantly. It's actually turned itself off now. It's really nice. MJ says, I'd like to get back to where I was playing sports 40 years ago. Oh, wouldn't we all like to get back to when we were young and fit and healthy? I didn't appreciate just how young and fit and healthy I was back in the day. But yeah, I was at one point, I was doing an hour and a half exercise every day with my Wii Fit. I was in a good habit. I was doing really good, and I would like to get back there. I know I'm not going to just pick it up and start doing it, but I would like to. I'm trying to do better. Um, I'm not getting any younger. My birthday is on the 21st, so that's 4 days from now. I will be 46. So yeah, if I don't get myself back in shape now, I'll never get there. So that's kind of been the thing that I'm focusing on. Oh, it's job woes as opposed to health woes. Well, there you go. It's something different to be annoyed at, AP. Always look at the brighter side. You're not feeling as all that bad today. Bishop saying calm, cool, and collected. Burned 2 Twitter accounts by pointing out the Navy busted Epstein in 1993. Can't deny it. Permanent records held at the Naval Academy. Ooh, yeah. We're we the royal we, I guess. I don't know. I don't expect anything ever. I don't expect any names to ever come out any more than are already there. If Trump had been involved with young children or something, it would have been brought out when all the information was first picked up by the Dems when they well, actually no, because wasn't it, it was Trump that was in charge. He was president the first time around, wasn't it? Wasn't he? But either which way, if there was anything on Trump from Epstein specifically, it would have come out. It didn't. I'm sure people have got him under their thumb. I think people control him for sure. I just don't think it's in that in the way that Epstein worked. I don't think they would be able to catch him up with young girls, that sort of thing. He's that I don't think that's his type of person, in my opinion. Hello again, Duct Tape. How you doing? Mr. Q saying I get out workout every day. It's not called work for nothing. Yes, but you do real work too. Like you're working on the farm. You're trapping, yeah, you're doing rodeos on the weekends. You're doing actual physical work. A lot of people these days don't do that physical work at all. We roll out of bed and roll into the vehicle that gets us to work. And then we roll into whatever seat that we sit in for 8.5 hours a day. And then we roll out of that and back home. And soon after feeding ourselves, we roll back into bed and do it all over again. There's really not a whole lot of exercising going on in the mass general public these days. So we've really got to get back on that. And I've really got to get back on that. Hello, Kaiser. How you doing? Yeah, there are no names that have come out. He's definitely. Oh, you think he is on the list? Okay. I figure it would have been thrown out when they were trying to down him, like when they were going after him with January 6th and with all the different court cases. I figured if they had something on him through Epstein, I think that would have come out then. That being said, he's not clean. He's not a clean, he's not the hero. He's definitely dirty. You cannot become the president of the United States without selling out to someone somewhere. And I'm pretty sure I know where. He's just like I said, someone else controls his puppet strings. They didn't need to get him through any Epstein type plots. They already had full control over him back when he was still young and just starting out, in my opinion. Oh, I'm sorry, kitty cat. Got to wake you up. Okay. In my opinion, talking out my ass, please do your own research. I think they got their claws into him when he was first starting out. I don't think they ever needed to get Epstein style blackmail on him. They already control and own him, and they already did. So I'm not saying he's a good guy or clean or anything like that. I'm just saying I don't think Epstein style tactics were necessary to gain control of Trump. That's all. Conservatives have police deliver our children to them. Liberals have police pluck our children out of schools. I can go with that. Loosely, I guess. Roughly. Either way, the government, daddy government, ends up being the one to raise our children. And that's the thing too. There is no difference between conservatives and liberals. They go about things in a different way, but they're all after the same main goal. Like at the end of the day, they're all in it together. They're all, taking care of each other, and none of them give a crap about those of us they're supposed to be working for. Mr. Q, in 8 hours, be picking carrots again. Then I get to play with my backhoe for at least 6 hours. Oh, that'll be fun. Lots of carrots are going to be coming up now, eh? That's for everyone you planted. You got to pull them up now. Fun. I actually need to check out and see how my seed lottery is going. I know that there's some sweet peas. Not today, tomorrow. I'll be able to start picking some peas, and my broccoli's coming in really good. So it should start fruiting soon. I can't remember what its time was offhand, but I've got a whole bunch of green peppers that are all flowering and coming up. I've got a couple fruits already started. I've got 2 ginormous beefsteak tomatoes started on my tomato plant out on the deck here. I'm excited. Plus, I get enough strawberries every couple of days off my strawberry plants to put them in my cereal or just to eat off the bush or what have you. It's lovely. I love summertime when I can grow my own stuff. Got zucchinis already off the plants, and more zucchinis just about ready to be taken. Yeah, good times here in the Digger household. Hello, Peggy. How you doing? Peggy saying we don't want Vance. Vance, it's Opus Dei, an evil cult. See, and yeah, thank you. You gave me more information on that. Yeah, Vance is to the Catholic Church what. Okay, wait a minute. In my opinion, do your own research. Vance is to the Catholic Church or the Catholic faction as Trump is to the Jewish faction, or not even the Jewish faction, more the World Bank faction, the bank cartel faction. That's how I think that breaks up. Either way, none of them have us normal folks best interests at heart. That being said, I mean, I'm here in Canada, so I mean, we're even worse off than you guys in America. We are socialism. We aren't even socialism light. We are socialism now, I believe. And unless something changes, we're going to be heading very fast into communism. The way censorship's working, and well, the way everything works together to shut us down, shut us normal people, the civilians down. It's astounding. Dazzer's over in Britain. He's got it. He understands too what you can and cannot say. Even in the privacy of your own home, if the wrong person hears it and decides to report it, it's insane what's happening. So yeah, I think we all got a decent idea of how the world is ticking along. And yeah, Trump is no savior. He's no hero or anything like that. He's just, one option of a bunch of bad options. Duct tape is going, picking carrots sounds like fun. But it actually, and Mr. Q says too, carrot picking is easy. That's what I was going to say. It's in the grand scheme of gardening and harvesting, carrots are fairly easy. When they make a backhoe that runs off AI and can dig holes, I'll be out of a job. Yeah, no, carrot picking is relatively easy. Yeah, Dazzer's in agreement too. He's telling Peggy it seems to be a problem worldwide. No good people to run for the job. They're all dirty. Exactly. Yeah, Opus Dei is on a grander scale than any one particular government. Yeah, I hope they screw up as well, AP, and you can take them to the cleaners. his work's making him jump through hoops for his medical issues, which is kind of ridiculous. Kind of, it is ridiculous, but then that's how everything works now, right? Everything's a bureaucracy, and there's no human beings to speak to about anything if you have any questions. Um, it's life is made to be extremely tough and frustrating, and like I said, it's made that way, I think, on purpose to keep us busy being frustrated, um, and have us not pay attention to what's really going on. Tough to write, but fun. Okay. Well, that's good, Kaiser. Kind of exhausted, but you're going to get some work done on the story tonight. That's awesome. The snippets that you sent me were great. It like literally snippets, but the second I start reading, I'm in the scene and I'm ready to go. The action is there. So yeah, I love it. Your what you send me, it pulls me in right away, no matter what part of the story we're in. No matter if I understand, what's going on in the larger scheme of things. Um, I can just pick a spot and start reading, and I'm instantly drawn in to the story. I want to know what's going on with the characters, who's doing what, and yeah, I love it. I can't wait. I really hope you make this a long, large series. Or you could do like the trilogy that you want, but keep the universe just different people in the same universe, something like that. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. You could write any kind of book, honestly. Um, you're able to get me drawn in right away and keep me entertained and interested and coming back for more. So yeah, you could write a bunch of different types of books. I enjoy that it's kind of sci-fi superhero. Um, it's a nice change. So for some reason or another, this last since Christmas, sci-fi and anime and that sort of thing have really been. I've been inundated and thrown into those worlds and enjoying that sort of stuff again. Hello, Dorothy. How you doing? Me. Bishop is saying wholesome. Is that the picking the carrots? It really is the gardening and all of it. Playing in the garden is very wholesome. I feel really good when I'm digging in the dirt or I'm swimming in the lake or I'm hiking in the forest. I really enjoy being outdoors. Uh, it's a lot harder since it's been years since I had a car, since I could afford to own a car. Um, but when I still had a car, it was great because I could go out into the wild or wherever, I was never that far away from the great outdoors. Um, it's nice. I've lucked out where I live here. There's two creeks slash rivers, depending on, they're pretty much creeks these days, but they once upon a time, they were really great, strong rivers, and they go around the area that I live in. So there's literally one right behind the building here, and lots of old growth trees. And even though it's the ghetto, it's just on the outskirts of downtown. There's all sorts of wildlife. We've got our ghetto deer. We've got our ghetto buck that we see. I think he was I can't remember how you count it, but he had 3 nubs, like 3 on each side. So whether it's a 3 or a 6 point, depending on who you are and how you count it. But either which way, he was around last year, so it's going to be interesting to see if he comes out. There's a few does who come in with their babies. They know it's safe here. Huge green lawn right outside my my window here that no one really uses. I go and stand out there for sun. I won't sit anymore because there's earwigs all over, and I just can't. Even with a blanket, I can't put a blanket down on the grass there and sit down there because there's so many earwigs. It wigs me out, you know. No pun intended, but definitely there. So I can't sit. So now I stand in the sun and then I turn around and I stand with my back in the sun. Uh, but for the most part, the grass isn't used by anyone else. So the wildlife, the raccoons, the ducks, the geese, the deer, they all love it and they all use this area. So I was thinking about taking this stream down to my garden today, but because it can't decide if it wants to storm or not, I figured there's no point. For sure, if I had taken the stream down to the creek, I'd be in midstream and it would suddenly decide to thunder and lightning and, you know, all hell break loose. So I figured it'd be safer just to stay here, but I will go and take some more pictures and post them because I really like the little corner, the little nook that me and the neighbors have built right there by the creek. It's nice. There is a difference between libs and conservative, just not for politicians. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, there is a difference between the different belief systems, for lack of a better term. But a politician is a politician, and they're all dirty. I gotcha. Damn chipmunks ate all your tomatoes off the vine before they ripened. Oh, the bastards. Got cucumbers everywhere. Gonna have to make pickles soon. Oh, right on. Right on. I don't plant cucumbers because I cannot. I always grow way too many. Way more than I can handle, than I can deal with. But I love zucchini, and I grow zucchini like most people grow cucumbers. Like loads, loads of zucchinis because I use it in so many different things. And I can bake my own zucchini bread, which means I don't have to buy bread, you know, from the store, that sort of thing. Because I don't eat any, like I don't eat whole wheat. It really messes with my stomach. But I didn't like white bread because it's just so processed. So I've started eating like raisin bread or zucchini bread, um, something like that for my sandwiches and stuff. So I'll have a cheese sandwich, only it'll be like raisin bread or zucchini bread or something instead. Um, so yeah, I grow a ton of zucchini. Darth is saying it's not even strawberry season. Oh, hun, I've been getting strawberries. I grow the everbearing strawberries. They really like to have runners. They really like to spread out. Um, but as long as I keep the runners clipped, the everbearing will just continually produce fruit from I was getting it middle of June, near the end of June. I started getting the strawberries, and now, like I said, every couple of days, I've got enough to eat, like just a handful off the plant, or else I can put them in my cereal, that sort of thing. It's it's really nice, and I'm going to try. I've got a growing system um, to grow your stuff indoors. I'm going to see if I can't keep my strawberries producing throughout the fall and winter indoors. It hasn't worked yet. I try every year and I haven't succeeded yet, but crossing fingers, I can figure out how to have fresh strawberries all year round. That would be thrilling. Nice hat. Thank you. Thank you. I made that tinfoil hat for Legal Vices. Yeah. He had his, so I made mine, and I used it for a Halloween costume. And now it works really well for when I start talking about the all the conspiracy theories out there. Because I do love a good rabbit hole. I do love a good theory and story. The more wild, the better. It doesn't mean I believe them. I do enjoy digging into them, though. I really like looking into history and stuff. And when I get hooked into a topic, when I get, um, when my curiosity is piqued, I will deep dive into that thing and it's a lot of fun, even when they are insane, wild and out there conspiracies. It's still fun to fall down the rabbit hole and just do the thought problem, you know? The Zionist and globalist factions simultaneously. Well, you see, that's the thing. In my opinion, having done some research, but you've got to do your own, I think there's about 13 or 15 different factions that have been working together um, for hundreds of years, working together to get to the global one world order point. And I think once they succeed in making this a global order, at that point, this 13 to 15 factions will then have to fight each other to see who will be ultimately in control of that global one world order. But right now, they're all working towards the same end goal, that new world order. So even if they hate each other, even if they detest each other, they do work together. And they have worked together for hundreds of years. And yes, hundreds, not just tens, not decades, but hundreds of years. These factions have been working together, in my opinion, to bring about that one world order. And then, like I said, when they finally get it, they'll fight each other to see who ends up supreme. So I believe that different factions run JD and Trump. And I think they're just working together because it works to their mutual benefit at this time. Peggy says, I'm Catholic. I know what's going on. See, there you go. Yeah, do your own research, folks. But it's really nice to, you learn a lot talking to people, you know? You learn a lot about what's really going on by talking to people who are really living in it, you know, not just like the Catholic Church or the World Bank cartel or, you know, all that sort of thing. Like you need to get to know the people who are living in a situation before you can really opine on that situation. In my opinion, you need to know a little bit, or at least make your own attempts to do your own research. Sorry, this cat has been just, you know, annoyingly needy all day long. And I guess it's her turn again. She did take a nap because we had lunch, or they had lunch. So they did have a nap. Mr. Q says, I feel pretty free where I am, different than where Johnny lives. Same with you. My family in Alberta and Manitoba has all kinds of guns and shovels. Yeah, well, and there's different kinds of freedoms, right? Like um, I am on disability. I am not reliable enough to work shift work, which is the only jobs I ever really got, other than um, you know, working in the makeup industry, doing fashion shows and films and that sort of thing. Other than that, it's always been shift work, whether it's in a retail environment or in kitchen or, you know, even live-in nanny. Um, live-in nanny worked really well because, again, the kid doesn't care what I'm wearing. You know, if I'm having a really bad pain day, the kid doesn't care if I stay in my soft, comfy clothes. You know, that sort of thing. So that worked. But a normal shift work sort of thing, I'm just not reliable. I cannot tell you from one day to the next what my body is going to feel like or want to do. You know, so I am stuck on disability, which means I am basically in that gilded cage. I rely on daddy government to fulfill all of my basic needs, which sucks, especially considering what I think about the government. uh, governments in general, mine specifically. It sucks that I am wholly reliant on them for my everything. Um, but until I am able to change that here, and that's the position I'm in. So yeah, I don't get to really do or say much. I just get to live with what they're giving me and be quiet. Like this. Doing this is really not, you know, this is not conducive to keeping my government happy with me. And I know at some point doing this is going to probably cost me that disability. Maybe not right away because I'm on I'm on provincial disability and I don't really have a whole lot to say about the provincial government. We're in BC, so really we don't really have much say in how the country is run. Um, but yeah, there will come a time. I know there will come a time when my voicing my opinions, um, which are coming out of my own research. But I know at some point voicing those opinions are going to get me into trouble. Um, Prison is your retirement plan, says Dazer. Right on. Yeah, honestly, a prison would work out pretty good as my retirement plan as well. You know, 3 hots in a cot. Any medical issues will be dealt with. Um, you know, it's not the worst retirement plan in the world these days, especially. But yeah, I am certain. I'm certain at some point they will come for me for what I have to think and say. So yeah, I don't really feel necessarily overly free right here. Um, but I am very comfortable. And right now I am comfortable enough that I can do this and have my say for better or worse. 420, 430. Okay, so I'm 17 minutes behind chat when Darth asks the question. How far behind chat? No more than 20 minutes. Yeah, I'm not that far behind. I don't read every single one. Mr. Q is clarifying we have a harvester to pull up the carrots with a dirt beater on it and the whole 9 yards. So they're not pulling them up by hand. Fair enough. I will be pulling mine up by hand, but there's only a small patch like that big. AP says I'd run, but I can't walk, so I'm not running far. Right? And I'm broken on the government's handouts, so really I can't afford to run, even if there was somewhere to run to. Oh, you know. Oh no, Officer Krupke, good to see you. Saying, don't think I've forgotten, Digger. You're still under arrest. Fair enough. Fair enough. I haven't forgotten. I do appreciate your allowing me the chance to voice my opinion before you take me in. AP is saying they'd take you within 3 days, take you out 3 days into his campaign. Yeah, as soon as we start making any headway, we'd be taken out. We don't have the money backing us, right? Kaiser, thanks for the kind words. No worries. I mean it. I'm really enjoying it. Hey, I love my backhoe and my girlfriend. All 3 of them. Nice. Okay, there is no how you count it. Each side counts individually, and if you only count one side, you're probably half retarded. Okay, I don't hunt at all, never have. Never held a gun that wasn't obviously a toy. But I was told that Canadians count it one way and Americans count it another way. I don't know which was which, but I was told that one side only counts one side and one country counts both sides. I don't know. So you do count both sides. So this guy would be a 6 point then, because he's got 3 on each side. Yeah, we saw him last. When's the last time we saw him? Last summer. It's the last time. I didn't see him over the winter. I saw him last summer though. They like to come in here because it's a big grassy area, so the babies can, wander around and play and eat off the bushes and drink from the creek, and they can lay in the shade. And there's no people coming in, but there's no real predators coming in either, because there's enough people that live around. It's really cool, the ecosystem that has built up around the ghetto that I live in. Gardening, the only place you can say, "Where's my hose at?" and not be weird about it. Right? Mr. Q saying the same thing. It's a 6-pointer. 3 on each side counts as 6. Okay, I got you. Yeah, you don't just count one hand. You've got 10. Okay, I get you. Only have 8 fingers and 2 thumbs. Well, things happen, Dazzer. Mason jars and industrial vinegar. Not sure what that was about. Yeah, counting. Banana nut bread, so good. Yeah. I tend not to put nuts in the banana breads. I don't make it often enough to keep nuts because I do know that nuts will go off, and I don't want to make myself or others sick by using nuts that have gone off. So I just don't buy them. If I did it regularly, it would be a thing, but I don't put nuts in the raisin bread. And the raisin bread is what I eat on the daily. That's my go-to, except in the summer when I can grow my zucchini. Awesome with ice cream. Yes, the strawberries, for sure. New World Order is dead. BRICS killed it. Yeah, I don't think so. I think BRICS is just a whole, no pun intended, but it's just another brick in the wall. It's just another data point to be connected. They're all working together. You think China wins that fight? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know who wins this fight. Thankfully, I did enough research and historical stuff. I proved that Jesus walked the earth to myself, and I always knew there was a higher power. So I kind of, I guess, proved God was the higher power to myself. Again, do your own research. But I did that just in looking into historical things, which is really weird. I had no intention on doing that. So thankfully, because I did that, I know that God wins in the end. So no matter how bad it gets, God wins in the end. And we just got to get to that point. So thankfully, it doesn't really matter who's going to win in the globalist agenda, because God wins in the very end. Yeah, we're no longer warriors. We're soft. You're right. Not only are you right, says Mr. Q, but everybody should know that since Alex Jones did his thing on Bohemian Grove. Exactly. And everyone should know that Alex Jones is just, what is it? Programmed opposition? Controlled opposition. Alex Jones is just controlled opposition. He works for them too. The fact that he got into Bohemian Grove himself and video cameras and stuff, that tells you he's one of them. They're all dirty. They're all in it together. And they're just pulling our strings. Oh, actually, speaking of, before I go off the Jones thing, Mighty Meat and I will be back next week for, I believe, the last episode in the Mystery Babylon series that we have been doing for quite a while now. It's been a long haul. It's been awesome. Loads of information and super cool interesting conversations. Once we finish the Mystery Babylon series, we are going to continue on with that Wednesday night, 5:30 Pacific, 8:30 Eastern time slot on Rumble only. We're going to continue that, but we're going to do a deep dive into Alex Jones from Bill Cooper's perspective. So from his own words, from his episodes of Hour of the Time, books, interviews, all of that, we're going to do a deep dive into to what Bill Cooper thought of Alex Jones, which is really well timed because it turns out Alex Jones, who by the by thinks that God is talking to him and telling him what to do now. It's strange. It's strange. I guess he says that God was always talking to him. He just didn't know it was God that was doing the talking. But God's giving him his information. It's the one that gives him his information. So take that for what you will. But he has decided that Bill Cooper's been dead long enough now that he can do his own documentary on Bill Cooper and prove that he, Alex Jones, was the one to call 9/11 first before 9/11 ever happened, and not Bill Cooper. Well, the first thing we're going to do in our series is play you the episode where Alex Jones calls out 9/11 before 9/11, and we're also going to play the episode where Bill Cooper calls out 9/11 before 9/11, and they're both dated. Their episodes, they dated their own episodes at the time. So you guys can look and see and learn for your own selves. But then we're going to go into a deep dive on what Bill Cooper thought of Alex Jones and Alex Jones's work. Very interesting, a lot of fun. And we figure if Alex Jones is allowed to show his version of Bill Cooper, we should make an attempt at least to show Bill Cooper's idea of who Alex Jones is. So that'll be fun at the very least. After that's done, we've got a Bill Cooper series on NASA, whole lots of fun and intriguing discussions to be had. So yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun with the Alex Jones bit. Because why not, right? Why not? I want to hear about needy cats. Yeah, I know this one. I don't know why, but this one's been particularly needy the last couple of days, and especially today. Yeah. Darth saying, surprised they haven't decided to send you a maid. Yeah, that's because well, first off, I'm on provincial, not federal disability. Second off, I've been on it for a while. I'm just kind of part of the system, as long as there's no ripples, I'm kind of just floating along. At some point, like I said, at some point there will be ripples made about me because I speak about things that I'm not supposed to be speaking about. But until that time, right now, my disability is just floating along unless I piss off the province. And I don't know how I could piss off the province. I don't have anything to say about the province. And I am really lucky. I have to say, I'm very, very blessed to be on disability. I don't know what I'd do if there wasn't this disability to give me the comfort of knowing that my basic necessities, at the very least, my basics are covered every month. I don't have to stress about money, about money enough to cover the necessities. I mean, I don't have any extras. Any extras I get come from doing things like cleaning house. I clean house for the neighbors from time to time. Doing this when people choose to buy me a coffee. When enough buy me a coffees come in, I use them to get myself an acupuncture treatment. There's no way I'd ever be able to afford acupuncture on disability, and it's definitely not covered. The the prescription shots that go into my muscles and the ones that occasionally get done straight into my lower spine, those are covered, thankfully. But natural treatments like massage and acupuncture, that sort of thing, not covered at all. So the Buy Me a Coffee, that covers acupuncture treatments. Every time it adds up to enough, that's another acupuncture treatment for me. It's awesome. So I'm not living, you know, I don't go out for dinner or anything. I don't go out to see a show. I don't go to the bar. I don't do that, um, outdoors, outside socializing sort of stuff. I can't afford to do that. I haven't been able to do it for years. Haven't, done it for years. I haven't been able to own a car for years. And not having a car really, really minimizes your world, especially when you're living in a more rural area. Everything's a lot further away. So not having a car makes things really, really tough. But yeah, so I'm not living high on the hog by any means, but at the very least, I know each month my rent is covered, electricity, like my hydro is covered. There's enough money for food. There's enough money for their food and cat litter. So the basics are covered. And I'm warm in the winter and I'm cold in the summer. So, I've got it really good. I understand. And I'm learning more and more watching Johnny trying to find a home, a wheelchair friendly home. It's damn near impossible to find. So I know I've got it. I've got it good here. I know I'm blessed here. I know I'm blessed. But yeah, that's how they deal with the disabilities these days. They give you just enough to survive on, and they keep you in your, in your golden handcuffs, they like to call it. I wouldn't call them golden, but they're definitely nicely padded, you know. Communism is just a prison state. Republic is just a police state. Democracy never existed. I don't know. A republic isn't just a police state. I don't agree with that statement. Democracy is a joke, in my opinion. It's whenever they want to change things, they just change the meaning of a word, right? As opposed to, I don't think democracy as it was once described, I don't think it exists, because technically I live in a democracy, but I don't. I live in a glorified socialist concept. And yeah, I don't think we've been a democracy here in Canada for a very long time. So constitutionalist ain't gonna win, yeah. Cranberry walnut bread is the best. Ooh, cranberry bread, yes. Yes. Hello, David. How you going or doing? Or Dave, sorry. Quick flyby. Good to see you. In Darth's defense, he didn't know Canadians were even allowed to hunt deer, much less count points and stuff. Yes, we are still allowed to hunt within reason, with lots of different licensing and laws and stuff. But we can still hunt. Yep. Okay. Mason jars and industrial vinegar was regarding growing infinite cucumbers. To make infinite pickles. Right. Mason jars and industrial vinegar. Right. See, that makes sense. Jars get expensive though. Yeah. Especially with infinite jars. No nuts in the bread, so you'd rather have them sans bread? No, I'd rather have them sans nuts. Yes, bread, no nuts. I'm really afraid I'm going to poison myself, or even worse, I'm going to bake a loaf of bread with like walnuts or chestnuts or some sort of nut in them. I'm going to give it to the neighbor as I do, and I'm going to make them sick, you know? So I just don't, because I don't bake often enough to warrant buying them and knowing that I'll use them soon enough. And I'm so paranoid. I don't want to accidentally, make someone ill. Oh, but yeah, my banana bread sounds nuts to die for. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. And one of my neighbors, for my birthday, she bought me 2 bread pans. So now when I make my bread, I actually have 2 bread pans. Well, technically I have 3 bread pans now, but for ages now I had 1 bread pan and then 1 little square that you use for like well, for squares, right? For bars, that sort of thing. So I'd have to do half of whatever bread I was making in the 1 bread loaf that I had and the other one in the square. And it didn't work well because he ended up strips were like that and it didn't rise right and all that stuff. Now I have 2 matching bread pans, absolutely perfect. And what she wants in return, her birthday is on the 8th, mine is the 21st. So what she wants is for me to make her some bread, banana bread. So there you go. And I can't wait. I can't wait to use 2 matching bread pans. It's been forever since I had 2. It's lovely. And yes, warm melted butter as soon on the bread as soon as it's out of the oven and just cooled just enough to slice. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Mighty Meat and Digger are controlled opposition. I don't think so. I would like to think we are part of the illumined. We have a better idea of what's going on in the world at large, in the grander scheme of things, in the great Game of Thrones, as it were. I would like to think we are more illumined. Not to say like we know it all by a long chalk. This is why we do the series that we do, is because we're learning and we want to learn more. It's like a really great quote. The thing about Christianity or Muslim or Sikh, the thing about a religion is even if you don't believe in the religion, there's millions of people in the world that do believe in that religion. Um, so it's good to know what the masses are thinking and how what their belief systems are built on. It gives you a better idea of what's going on and how to handle yourself. So I don't think we're controlled opposition. I think we're babies at becoming illumined, and we're trying to teach others while we're learning ourselves. Everything is just 5th generation warfare. Yes. Mr. Q's only got 20 years left, he figures. So he just has to fight the weirdos and the robots off till then. Hopefully his and Nikki's kids can win the war. There you go. Does anyone care what Bill Cooper thinks? I do. I like to have other people's perspective on historical people and or events, like a contemporary perspective on things. And I think that Bill Cooper is pretty interesting and very intelligent, well-read man. He did his own research and then some. So yeah, I like to hear what he has to say about different things, especially because Alex Jones, I know that Bill Cooper didn't think much of Alex Jones whatsoever. And when I heard that Alex Jones is doing a documentary on Bill Cooper, I knew for a fact um it's not going to be kind and it's not going to be accurate necessarily. Um so at the very least we can do is allow Bill's own words um speak for him, you know. I think that'll be fun. And it's not that I take Bill's words as God's truth. I take his words and information with grains of salt as well. I like to learn from both sides, and I like to learn from the extremes on both sides, as well as the more moderates, because that's the only way I'm going to be able to figure out for myself what is probably actually the truth. You know, um, so yeah, I like to hear from everyone, and I do care what Bill Cooper thinks. Um, I think it's going to be fun to show others what Bill Cooper thinks of Alex Jones. Alex Jones, as he is today in today's world, as he is known by, you know, um, the younger generations, is not at all Alex Jones as seen by Bill Cooper or Alex Jones in Alex Jones's early career. So, and I know he'd like to hide that. So if he wants to show Bill's warts, I don't mind showing his warts. Oh, you think Alex Jones is also Opus Dei? Okay. I have no idea, honestly. I have no real opinions on who his puppet masters are. I'm not even sure if he works for one of the main factions in my own head. He may just work for, you know, the underlings. The underlings and the systems and the groupings that we are aware of. We may not be aware of what's going on within them, but at least we are aware of them. I have no idea what ultimately what faction he goes for. Alex got turned very early. Yeah. Yeah. And again, the fact that he was able to get in with video cameras, hidden video cameras and microphones into Bohemian Grove, no. It came out later that it was Bush that gave him the requisite passwords needed to be allowed entrance. So he's been with them right from the get-go. Sandy Hook is classified law enforcement since Sandy Hook. Now there's a whole nother, that's a rabbit hole and a half. Holy Hannah. That goes the gamut of it never ever happened and they're all fake people made up to it really did happen and it happened exactly as it went. And these children were just massacred and everything in between, that it was all a psyop, that it happened, but it was one of those crises, never let a good crisis go to waste sort of a situation. So it did happen, but then they manipulated it after the fact. There is such a deep, dark rabbit hole on Sandy Hook. I've got some opinions. Not going to voice them because it really doesn't matter. You do your own research and decide for yourself. At this point, it's so far gone as to not. If it was a psyop, its purpose has long since been tired and used up. Oh, AP, I'm not talking about the banana nut bread itself spoiling. I'm talking about the bag of nuts that sits in the cupboard for months between baking loaves of banana bread. It's the bag of nuts that sit there in the heat. Like it's in the cupboard, but still it's the hotter part of the house. So it's the bag of nuts separately that I'm concerned about having spoil, not the bread. The bread never lasts long enough to spoil. Yeah, usually gone in 3 days for sure. Yeah. Zucchini bread. Yeah. Raisin bread, banana bread. It's gone within 3 days of baking, or else it's frozen. I do that a lot. Freeze my bread. Yeah. Yes, AP. I'm looking forward to that coming out and playing with some of the toys that you've got. It'll be very much a whole lot of fun. Bad Dazzler says, ours told me I don't get enough to live on. I said, I don't live on it. I exist on it, not live. And that's exactly it. They give me enough to exist. It's those, like I said, not golden handcuffs, but they're definitely padded. They're comfortable. Um, as long as I don't want to do anything or go out and have a vacation or have a car so I can go for a hike, or if as long as I don't want to leave the house, my basic needs are met and covered. So yeah. Mr. Q, the crappy part about Johnny finding an apartment is he has to expand his search and move further away from where he wants to be. I'm sure that's going to be the case by the time he finds a place. Well, yes and no. It's not, I mean, of course he wants to stay as close to his daughter as he can, but he hasn't been, it's not like he's sticking just to St. Cloud. He's been looking in different counties in the state. It's just, it is really difficult. It is surprisingly difficult to find wheelchair accessible apartments. Really very difficult. It's and then cost is also a thing, because this year he can't make extra money doing the things like DJing that made him his side. He can't do his side hustles anymore, so he's got a whole lot less money that he can afford to spend on monthly rent. And there's, because it's not, it's not being reflected in his paperwork yet. And so he's not eligible for a lot of help that's out there. And I say help because it's not really help. There's a lot of waiting lists that he's gotten himself and getting himself onto, but they're waiting lists that are years long. The likelihood of finding it, the trouble is finding a place available. Honestly, it's really difficult. It's not like it is for those of us who are able-bodied. It really isn't. There's a whole lot of different things that you have to think of, and that are kind of necessary. And any of those places where it's like self-sustainable, but there are nurses around, anything like that, the waiting lists are years and years and years long, and he's got a couple months. So it's really hard. I'm surprised at just how difficult it is to find. And then Minnesota, apparently you guys like to build everything half under, so that your first floor is halfway. It's not like a basement. You don't have a full basement. You just dig halfway down, and that's your first floor. So whether you want to be on the first floor or the second floor, either way, you're stuck doing stairs, just a few stairs. But if you're in a wheelchair, any stairs is no good, right? So I don't know. Yeah, it's just it's weirdness. We're looking everywhere, though. We're not sticking just to St. Cloud. Great bear hunting is Saskatchewan. Yeah, and up north, Yukon. Very far north, BC, Yukon. That's right beside Alaska. So yeah, really great bear hunting up there too. Whose nuts am I eating, Bad Desert? Nobody's nuts, because I don't want to buy raw nuts and have them go off in a bag in the cupboard in between uses. So I'm not eating anyone's nuts. Yeah, Emma So is saying I make banana bread all the time. It's easy and very tasty. It is. Whenever I have enough bananas in the freezer, I do a batch. A lot of cute people up there. Yeah, the Saskatchewan. You've got a lot of Qs out there, eh, Mr. Q? Yeah. Oh, we're having a bread off, a banana bread off. Sounds good. I'm in. The Illuminati. I like that, AP. Yeah, I've got a recipe at the ready too, Lady Autumn Sky. I've got my never fails banana bread recipe. Love it, love it, love it. Written it out in hard copy, just so that I don't ever lose it if I lose my online recipe book. I've still got it. CIA, BlackRock. Yeah, that's the level I think that Alex Jones is working for. I don't think he's necessarily, I don't know if he's big enough to work for a specific faction like the Catholics or the World Bank or something. I think he just works for the underlings like the CIA, the people who work at BlackRock, not who control BlackRock, but the people who do the working. Hello, neurodivergent one, sending some peeps. There's a raid. Nice. Robert Gorvez has rated. Thank you so much. Welcome, you guys. We're just shooting the shit about whatever you guys want to talk about. And hello, 09 Canyon, Jacob Castro. How are you guys doing? Good to see you all. Thank you. Thank you. How the F do I get Rumble to stop sending me here? Trying to watch Robert. Unfortunately, Rumble 8867, Robert ended his stream. That's why you ended up here. So if you want to catch Robert and not me, you've got to show up earlier for his stream. Sorry. I know you keep showing up here. I'm sorry. Hey, B Money, how you doing? Anyways, getting back to it. Recently bought bananas, took our order, and we requested 6 and we got 6 bunches. Oh goodness, you're making a ton of bananas with 6 bunches of bananas. Yeah. Hello, 09 Canyon, how you doing? And she's saying sounds good to me. I don't like leaving the house anyways. Well, there you go then. Yeah. It's a comfortable existence. If that's all you need, that's fine. And really, that's all I need for the most part. It's this comfortable existence is it is comfortable. And I am blessed. I know I see what not just Johnny, I see what others go through. If you're not at the high end of the pay scale, let's say, if you're not rich, if you're on the lower end, it's very hard to exist. And it's like, even if I wasn't on disability, I have free medical. Like if I break a bone, or if something bad happens, I can go to the hospital and they will treat me. It will take them hours and hours and hours and hours, excruciating hours of waiting. If it's not lethal or deadly, it will take forever to get looked at, but I will get looked at. And when I come home, when they've treated me and I come home and I get myself healthy, there will not be a bill from the hospital for thousands and thousands of dollars in the mail a few weeks later. There won't be that. They just treat me. And it comes out of the taxes that everyone pays. And that too is a blessing. My goodness, being able to go and see my doctor because I'm sick and not have to worry about how many hundreds of dollars each visit is going to cost. It's amazing. I am so very lucky. I go to the hospital every 3 or 4 months for treatments. I don't have an illness that lands me in the hospital every so often, thankfully. But for those like AP or Johnny, that do, I mean, you guys, your MS takes a turn for the worst and you're hospitalized. Not only do you have to deal with that illness and recovering from that illness, you also know that at some point in the future, a ginormous bill is going to come in the mail, and you're going to have to somehow figure out how to pay that huge bill for amounts that you're nowhere near earning. I don't know how you guys do it. It's amazing. It really is. And I do remember, or I do realize just how blessed I am here in Canada. There's good and bad in everything. And yeah, my disability is a comfortable pair of handcuffs, but I'm aware of it and I'm okay with it. I guess I'm taking it, right? And if I get sick, I can get treated. Yeah, he does want to live somewhat close, so he doesn't have to drive 3 or 4 hours one way just to see his kid. Definitely, that would be ideal. But we're looking at, yeah, we're looking at the whole state, and in fact, there's looking at other states as well. Um, we joke about him coming here to Canada, but those are avenues to look at as well. And it would be the same in reverse. You know, when I come to America, um, I'm going to have to figure out how to support myself too, right? Because I won't have provincial disability anymore. And I won't be able to I'll need to make sure that not only can I support myself, but I can pay for my meds, that I can afford my medical treatments that I get, the procedures that I need to get every 3-4 months. These are all, so there's things in both directions, but we're looking at everything. And right now we're looking at a wheelchair friendly apartment or home, preferably within the state of Minnesota. The closer to St. Cloud, the better. But we're looking at the whole state, and we are looking at other states tentatively. Yeah, believe you me, the net is thrown wide. But we've, between the all the different, yeah. Oh, AP is saying they're bi-level homes. We don't have those here in BC. You either have a basement or you don't have a basement. Some of us have crawl spaces underneath the house. But there's really not very many places where your basement is actually got windows. And your first level, actually, you have to take steps to get up to your first floor. There isn't a whole lot of buildings like that here. We lived in one when we were little. The first house we moved into when we lived on the coast, but that area had a lot of split level homes. Like that was the thing. Split levels were the thing when they were building in that area. So it wasn't so much bi-level as it was split level. So they had halfway. Like our basement had windows. They were not normal size. They were skinnier and longer, but they did have windows. So, but that's the only house I can think of that actually did that, I'll go to YouTube and tell her. Robert's show just ended. So I did catch it just as it happened. Good. I was not behind in chat. He rated here so you can stay if you'd like, Mr. R. Yeah. That's awesome. I really appreciate Robert's raids. That's really super cool. Jacob Castro making fun of my boots. Apparently, allegedly, in the grand scheme of Canadian accents, BCers have the most non-accent accent. But apparently we still say, or I still say a boot. I know I say a. My grandma used a like some people use the word fuck. And I'm taking after my grandma. I use a in multiple different ways. And I even, in my chats, I type a. So I'm definitely Canadian in that way. Just a few of you, 500 or something, right? Right, Braga? Thank you so much. There we go. You can unclick the box, so you don't have to come if you don't want to. Mart Rose asking what state I'm in. I'm not. I am in British Columbia, as far west as you can go in Canada. I'm about the middle of the states, or the middle of the province, rather. Actually, pretty much smack dab in the middle of the province. I'm on the other side of the coastal mountain range from Vancouver and the coast. Mr. Q, what's the kind of money I'm making now? If you would have told me I was making that much money 25 years ago, I would have said I'm going to be rich. But then inflation happened, right? I remember I was so excited. I got this job and I worked my way. I was there for a long time and I kept making my raises and I got to $10 an hour. And I was like, finally, I'm earning me some adult wages. Like these are wages I can live off of. And within a year, our minimum wage was bumped up to like 8 something. And within another year it was to 10. So I'm earning that same 10 dollars an hour, and what I used to think was brilliant, but now minimum wagers are flipping burgers at McDonald's for the same $10 that I'm working a much more difficult job to earn. It was really frustrating. And here in BC, I've got a buddy. He's gone as high as he can in the company that he works for, or as far as he wants to go, rather, because even though he's hit the highest point of his pay scale, they will never pay him more for what he's earning. If he takes the next job up, he's only going to get another couple buck raise, but for those couple of dollars, they expect him suddenly to be management and to take on all sorts of responsibilities and start working all sorts of extra hours and stuff. Tons of stress for just a couple dollars more. So he's decided to just stay at the highest end of the pay cap in the position he's in. He's basically making the same as the management, but he's got none of the stresses. He just has to show up and, take care of the customers and stuff. So yeah, being in upper management these days is no good either, because minimum wage is just so high. Hi, Isaac Walmark. Yeah, I've got the kitties are starting to dance around. What time is it? Yeah, in theory, it's nearing that time. So they're getting active and they'll start walking past the camera and stuff. Mart Rose says, this is the only travel I have. Where did you go today? Canada. Well, there you go, Mart Rose. I'm the same way. I've got friends all over the world now, and it's really cool. I can live vicariously through them. And I can live vicariously through them and see places and experience things that I never would have gotten to otherwise. There's no way I can afford to travel. Even when I was working, I couldn't really, well, I guess I could have. When I was working, when I had was still pursuing my career before my health made it so I couldn't work. Even then, I didn't have the time or the money to go traveling. It was go and work all the time, just to keep on top of everything. AP, there's 4 homes you found that would fit him just fine. Send them to me in Discord. We're looking at the one that King Kong Dong sent us. I think he's waiting for a call back from that one. If you guys have got any suggestions for places that are wheelchair accessible, please help. 2 bedrooms, light, these are laundry, because with his, well, AP, you probably understand too, with the health issues, laundry is kind of more important than average. So not having to take it off site every time you need to do laundry, it would be ideal. But yeah, seriously, send him our way. He's checking out everything. There was a couple he checked out, but they want to do credit checks before they even let him come and see the property, which I think is ridiculous. Why would you want to give total strangers access to that kind of information just to see the property? To me, that seems wildly inappropriate. I shouldn't have to give you any private information until I'm ready to apply for to rent the place. I shouldn't have to give you my private information, banking information, just in order to come and see the place. That seems extraordinarily wrong to me. So I don't know, maybe that's the way things work these days. I've been living here for 10 years. So 11 years. I've been here 11 years now. So it's been a long time since I had to go out and rent a home. Maybe things work differently, but I would not be comfortable giving my private uh, banking information to someone just so I can come and tour their suite. That just screams scam to me. Um, so I don't know if it's different and I'm in the wrong, but to me it seems very, very weird. Buy level is the same as split level. Okay. Okay. I say A and I'm not Canadian. Yeah, but you're in the area, AP. You're in Michigan. You're in the area where we have a lot of similarities. JJ McCullough has a very exaggerated Canadian. I hate the way he says a boot because it's obviously forced. Like it's obvious a thing that he's trained himself to say a boot. Yeah, that's I find it really annoying. I don't mind his stuff. We don't agree on a whole heck of a lot. He is definitely more liberal than I am. But I do enjoy his stuff. But the way he says about the forced a boot, yeah, it bugs me. Canada. Yes, that's exactly it. Because I'm Canadian, eh? Can't imagine someone trying to arrest me for words or a shovel. Yeah, exactly. You guys, you Americans, you're lucky. You have no idea how lucky you are. Even though your Constitution and Bill of Rights, there's so many amendments and laws you've circumvented so much of it over all of the years and legislation and stuff. Even with all of that, you still have basic rights that no one else in the world has. You guys have got more freedom than anyone else in the world, and you cannot let go of that. The only thing that's kept Canada from going full steam into communism years ago is the fact that we live right next door to you guys, and that's just not. It wouldn't have been allowed. I don't think. Let's just say, you guys wouldn't have allowed a communist country to be next door to you. We're getting there now, but it's taken how many? How old is America? So how many years has it taken for you guys to write enough legislation to circumvent enough of the stuff to get to the point where, your Second Amendment, your First Amendments are being infringed upon to this extent now? So now we can be the socialist country we've wanted to be in secret for so long. I say we, but I don't. But the government that runs my country has wanted this for a very, very long time. David Nelson's never been to BC, but PEI is one of the most relaxing places you've ever been. I would love to see PEI. It sounds that way. My mom and stepdad bought a couple of adjoining pieces of property out in Nova Scotia, and it's facing ocean, and then there's a wildlife preserve, like a provincial forest. So their view is ocean followed by an area that will always stay pristine and will never be developed. So that's their retirement. They're gonna go out there and live on their double property and just enjoy life. Yeah, it sounds like a beautiful, beautiful part of the country over there. I've also always wanted to go and see like Quebec City and Montreal because of the architecture there. I love older architecture, the historical aspect. But yeah, I am glad that I live in BC. I'm not glad with the way the provincial government is necessarily going. The NDP rules us, so it's not great. But on the flip side, it's absolutely beautiful, and there's so much still pristine wilderness in BC. It's gorgeous. AP says, I'm north of Kanadistan, but not by enough distance, right? You're close. And Mr. Q, I did not exactly say that. You're right. We should never have let women vote. Not exactly that. But we went from one extreme to the other, you know? And, we've got to bring it back into the center. Um, I'm glad that I'm allowed to vote. There are just as many idiot men voting as there are idiot women voting. So, I'm glad us intelligent women are allowed to vote as well. Potential renters that can be extra. Okay. Shovelhead saying it's because of squatters. The preview available property is then invade and squat in the home for months for free. Look up squatters' rights. Interesting. Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. Actually, it's to keep the squatters from previewing their next home. Okay, I guess that makes sense, but it sure feels weird. Like I said, I wouldn't want to be giving out that kind of, like, your credit score or whatever. I wouldn't want to be giving out that kind of information to everyone who might potentially rent me a space just so that I can go and look at the space. Like, I've seen a lot. I remember one apartment. We looked at so many apartments before we were finally able to find the one that we settled on. It took forever. And if I had to give all my private banking information to each person just to see the place, that's wild. My private banking information would have been disseminated to public years ago. It doesn't seem safe to me. But that does make sense. Squatters, it's to keep the squatters from coming in previewing. That makes sense. I guess that's something else we should look into, squatters' rights. Not because I'm saying that he should become a squatter, but to see, if that's a thing. Maybe there's places where they're harder on squatters, which would mean that we don't have to credit check for just to see the place. Yeah, extra picky and demanding. I don't know. See, and I went immediately to scammer because that's probably what it would be here. There's an awful lot of scams being run in out here. So that's why my brain instantly went to scammers. But maybe, okay, I guess there is perhaps a reason for it. Oh, yeah. Scary. Mr. Q saying we'll be 250 years old next year, right? So you guys have got almost 250 years worth of legislation and amendments to work around your original Constitution and Bill of Rights as they were written. Mr. Q says the fall of Rome, so to speak, is just fed up because of the internet and AI and logistics and the fact that you can get stuff one place to the other place really fast and easy. Well, yes, and don't forget the moral code of the average civilian has gone kaput. So that's it too. It was all the immorality that helped the fall of Rome. Licentiousness. Bad people with good credit will schedule viewings to scout out properties, then sell the information to others for a finder fee. It has gotten out of control. Interesting. I had no idea. Huh. Wow, that's wild. But what's to protect the good person? How is the good person who is looking for a home supposed to protect their credit when they have to hand it out to every Joe Blow? I mean, there are a lot of scummy landlords out there too. How do good people with good credit protect themselves from the potential bad landlords. FFLs, you have to be very careful which county you're in. Yeah. But the idiot women tell the idiot men how to vote, so that means that's your vote. Well, no, that's the idiot's fault. I think the idiots, men and women, vote similarly. It's another, like we were talking about, it was a quote in Steve's book that I was reading in this morning's stream. The true danger is not the it's not the tyrant, it's the idiot. The people so stupid that they don't realize that what they're espousing actually hurts them. They're just so sure of what they've been fed that they will fight it to their own extinction if need be. There's some crazy stuff going on lately. I do want to see Wimbledon and Ireland. Oh, traveling afar. Yes. Yeah, there was a lot of places I wanted to travel and see at one point, and now I'm just kind of like, yeah, maybe not. Maybe I'm okay over here in BC. I've got friends in the Netherlands. She and her husband are both retired. So they travel and tour and take pictures of all the different historical areas throughout the Netherlands. And she posts it all in a Discord. So I've been able to travel all over there and see some of the most amazing historical buildings just via her tours with her husband. It's really so much fun. I've been able to see parts of Japan, South Korea. I've been able to see all over England, just, via friends posting their pictures of their travels within their own country. I don't actually have to go anywhere now. Actually going to places, I think, is a rich man's game. I think even people who are earning a decent yearly wage are having trouble affording trips abroad these days. Mr. Q is on my side. Yeah, I should be able to look at it at least and make sure I want it before I want to give them my private credit information. That's what I'm thinking. I should at least be able to, because if it's a dive, if they put one picture on the ad that's like blurry and shit, I want to go and see it for myself and make sure it's not a dive before I give these people my private credit information. That's just me. And Shovelhead saying, I agree, it's a shame. I think renters agents might be worth the fee. Bad people on both sides, honestly. Yes, and that's something I suggested as well. Calling around and picking the brains of local realtors' offices, and see if they have any suggestions. Because it really is a double-edged sword. They don't want to get dinged with potential trouble like squatters, but us, the renter, don't want to get dinged by underhanded landlords. Dazzer, what is this morals? You know what morals are. You've got them. I know. Neurodivergent one is saying, I hope to never rent again. Oh my goodness. And I have always been in a position. I never made it big with my makeup in film career. Before I got sick and was unable to work, long before I was able to make it big in makeup. So I've never been in a position where I ever expected to be able to buy a home. I don't expect to ever have owned a home in my entire life. It's just I will always be a renter. It is what it is. If I wasn't, working shift work, the kind of the kind of gigs that I would work, if not my makeup career, I put all my eggs in a basket. And about halfway through paying or halfway through the school to get that basket, um, the entire industry, makeup in film industry was tossed on its head when HD film became a thing. And yeah. Um, so other than that, I'm unskilled. So I will be no good for anything but retail or fast food or, not even fast food. I could work in restaurants, that sort of thing, in bars, that sort of thing. Never going to be earning enough money to be able to buy a home in BC. Never. With those kind of jobs, there's no way you could afford to buy a home in BC. I would love to never have to rent again. I would love to have that security, that knowledge. You did have a civil war over there for the Constitution. Yes, you did. And it's been nearly 250 years. You guys have, well, not you guys, but the baddies, the black hats have had 250 years to slowly work around and sand down the edges and soften things to the point where you're now fighting for your rights and Constitution. Like it's an issue. Only idiots should be 3/6 of a person like they did. Hello, the cannabis connoisseur. How you doing? Dazzer saying go to France and then get a dinghy to England and you get a 5-star hotel, food, and then you can go to Wales and then on to Ireland. There you go. And that's something, Johnny and I joke about too. It's been in Canadian media, Canadian state-run, state-paid-for media has been talking about how if you come into Canada as a refugee, after all the things that you get, the benefits and stuff that you get, a refugee is pulling in $80,000 a year in Canada, in benefits. Me on disability, I just barely pull in 20,000 a year. So that's a huge disparity between me on disability and someone who's just shown up here the other day. At least I was born here and raised here and I worked. I paid taxes. I paid into the system that I'm now taking out of. I paid into that system. And I am getting the bare minimum $20,000 a year to live off of in Canada. Whereas a refugee can come in and just like that, they're getting $80,000 a year in benefits for being a refugee. So we've joked about Johnny becoming a refugee because then he gets his free healthcare too, which would be brilliant with his MS. He wouldn't have to worry about, next time I take a turn and I go to the hospital, there's another huge bill that I have no idea how I'm going to cover. That would be lovely and nice, but apparently it's not that easy. You have to, that's for another day. It's not that easy. Dazzer is saying, I've been told my morals are as loose as a hose knickers. Well, there you go. But you do have them, is what you're saying. They're loose. They're loose as all get out, but you have them. And that's the key. I think humans innately have an understanding of right and wrong. I think it's then your environment, the world you grow up in, as to how strong they are, or how much you value them, how much you pay attention to what's right and what's wrong. But I think we're born with an innate understanding that there are certain things that are right, and there are certain things that are just wrong. And then we let it get dulled or sharpened depending on the life we live in. 09 Canyon saying, and then I know a few people who love renting because it takes the pressure off of them to do repairs or be stuck in a place they can't sell if they want to move. Exactly. Yeah, there's pros and cons to everything. We moved all the time when I was growing up. All the time. We lived in multiple places in and outside of town here before we packed up everything and moved to the coast. And then we lived in at least a half a dozen, if not more, different homes on the coast. Whenever mom was able, I don't know, I think it had more to do with other stuff, but from a child's perspective, once mom was finished decorating a home, we then had to sell the home and buy a new home so that mom could then decorate the new home. And that was the purpose for our moving. There was a whole lot more to it, but as a child, my perspective was when mom got finished decorating, she got bored. So we had to move to the next home. So we moved all the time. And as an adult, I try so hard to just set down roots. I do not want to move. I hate the idea of moving. Like I said, I've been in this place for 11 years. I don't want to have to move. But I know there are people who do that, who love renting for exactly that. There's no pressure of if something breaks now, it's on you to fix. And you've got to be able to come up with the money to fix it no matter what, because it needs to be fixed. There's no one to, no one else you can call. And you're not stuck in one place if you like to change of venue on the regular, like my mom did. You can do so. And it's relatively, there's no, there's no ties holding you to a piece of property that you no longer want. So there's good and bad sides to it. Yeah. I really like to lay down roots and then stay there and never, ever, ever move again. Ideally. Like if I could stay here until my government comes and breaks down the door and arrests me and jails me for my thoughts. If I can just live here up until that moment, that would be lovely for me. That would be great. If I didn't ever have to think about moving, I'd be A-okay with that. Mr. Q's saying, I want to go to Machu Picchu, but probably not the best trip to make right now with all the stuff going on. That's what I thought too. Same for me, Machu Picchu. But when I was earning and working all the time, I didn't have the time to do that sort of thing. And now I don't have the money to. The children are the most cruel on the battlefield. That is true. Yeah. Just jump the fence into Cali from Mexico, you'll get treated like a Korean. Well, see, and that's the same thing in reverse. But again, the problem is we're Native North Americans. We are not from a place. We're not from the right place. I don't know how to diplomatically say it, but basically we're of no use to the opposite government. Like my becoming a refugee in America does the American government no good. So they're not going to bend over backwards to allow me to come in as a refugee, and vice versa. My Johnny's thoughts and belief system is not going to help the Canadian government to push its agenda. So they're not going to bend over backwards to allow him to become a refugee. you have to come in from a country that is very depressed, I guess. That's not quite the right word, but under a really heavy form of government, so that they come here, and in comparison, here is they've got so many rights and freedoms in comparison. They're willing to vote for the government that allowed them to come in. They're going to keep voting for that government, which keeps us on the stream that we're on. And it's because of that, neither Johnny nor I are useful as a refugee, unfortunately. Because I would totally just, um, go visit Mexico, and then 2 feet in a heartbeat my way over the border. I wouldn't be too afraid of swimming the Rio. I'm a very strong swimmer. I am a very strong swimmer. I also have awareness of undercurrents and undertows, and how they work. So yeah, I'd have a very good chance at making it across from Mexico into the States, but they wouldn't want to let me be a refugee in the States. They'd just send me back to Canada again. I'm of no use to them. Hello, Alan Rose. Don't forget that little girls were trafficked and raped by wealthy men and women at the Epstein Island. Well, that's exactly it. Yeah, lots of bad stuff happened there, and we all know it. I mean, there was more than enough evidence released to know that it happened. And Trump's saying that it didn't, or that it was all fabricated, is just, he thinks we're stupid, and we're not. That being said, I'm not going to hold my breath. No one in any of his books or anything was ever going to actually get named and outed, because they're still wealthy and in power. There's no way the real important ones are going to get outed, because they're still in control of the world. So, Canada wasn't even accepting Syrians. Yeah, no, we need Khalistanis. We don't need. My government wants Khalistanis and Chinese CCP agents is what my government is looking for specifically at the moment. That may change. That is subject to change on a whim. But yeah, at the moment, we're not even accepting Syrians. There's no way my government is going to be accepting a white man in a wheelchair as a refugee. That just doesn't work for their agenda. Oh, hello, Buck. How you doing? He's saying, I got a way you can stay here. Mary Shatner, he's a resident here, right? Then I'd have to be married to the Shat. I would be a Shat. I don't think I could live with myself as a Shat. you know? Mr. Q, why Machu Picchu? I like the Incan Empire. Are you a big fan? I really enjoyed the historical aspects of Machu Picchu. I like the idea of the spiritual trip that you take as you climb Machu Picchu, and finally arrive at the peak. For a long while, I really wanted to go and do a whole bunch of different travels for spiritual purposes. I still would like to do a proper sweat lodge in the snow with oh shoot. Now the only word that's coming to me is patchouli, but it is definitely not the right word. Native Americans use it. I think it starts with a P. You take it and then you vomit, and then you have visions, and you usually take it in the sweat lodge. Either way, I wanted to do a proper sweat and find my spirit animal and do that. I wanted to, yeah, I wanted to do the spiritual, have the spiritual experience of the hiking up uh, Machu Picchu and the revelations that are supposed to come with it. Um, there's also, or there was, I believe it was in Hungary. There was at one point an entire city um, built in treetops, a lot like the Ewok city in the Star Wars movie. Um, there really was at one point a city like that. I don't know if it's still there or not, but I wanted to go and visit that. Mr. Q says, I want to see the city in the clouds. Oh, oh, well, stay still if you want petting. Stay still, or else I'm going to end up catching your ear with a finger like that. Yes. Sorry. Bishop, it's so hard to be positive. I feel like I killed the shows. No, don't worry. You're not killing anything here. I felt that way for a long time. Hard to be positive. Part of my change of mindset was moving here. The weather, it made a huge improvement on my physical health. The different things have made it easier because I'm not in as much pain because of treatments that I'm able to get here. I'm not in as much pain. So of course it's easier to be positive when you're not in excruciating pain at all times, you know? But at some point I went from being red pilled to black pilled. And then suddenly I was clown pilled. And it was when I finally became clown pilled, when I was finally able to sit back and go, okay, yeah, the world's gone to shit. It's so messed up. We're never going to be able, or anything I do is never going to be enough to fix the horrible situation the world is in. There is stuff happening that is so ridiculous. It was actually comedic at one time. Monty Python made skits about things that are now, things that we should not talk about in jest, So I feel like I got clown pilled, and now I look at everything and I just laugh at it, the ridiculousness of it. It's just, pride parades, but nowadays pride is only a proper pride parade if there are naked bits being swung about for children to see. That's just ridiculous. I have to laugh at it because it's just so insane. It shouldn't have been a thing, but it is. And it's a lot easier for me to be positive or optimistic when I just laugh at the ridiculous of it all. And know that I can have no effect on anything other than what's within my immediate realm of existence. So I stopped worrying about just how bad the world is. I guess that's it. I stopped worrying about it and trying to find solutions to fix it, and I just laugh at it all. And that's helped me be a lot more positive in my life. Uh-huh. Peyote, that's the one. Thank you, Mr. Q. It was peyote. Yes. The tribe here, they do a proper spirit animal quest. It's done in the winter, so you have your sweat lodge, and you take your peyote. But at certain times throughout the journey, you leave the sweat lodge and you roll around in the snow, and it just cools you off and it zaps your senses, and then you go back into the sweat lodge. And that's a experience that I would love to have before I die. Buck is saying Digger shoots maple syrup right into her veins, right? I'm that hardcore. Yeah, I've got maple syrup on IV drip. No way would I want to be in a sweat lodge, says Slidey Pie. Yeah, well, and see, that's something I never really gave much thought to before I made friends with people like AP and getting to know Johnny. Um, with MS, heat is not a good thing. In my world, heat has always been one of the only things that eases pain for me. Um, so I didn't really think about the fact that there are people out there that can't handle heat. I thought everyone loved it. But yeah, so you wouldn't like doing the sweat lodge thing? Fair enough. The Gardens of Babylon? Ah, dude, if we could have seen Babylon at its peak, at its height, um, that would have been phenomenal. That really, really would have been phenomenal. The Gardens of Babylon. And yeah, China. I would have loved to have gone to China and um, seen the Great Wall. And I mean, there is phenomenal historical architecture in Asia. So much that I would love to go and see. Um, nowadays, you know, even if you could afford it, nowadays most places are just too dangerous to go and visit. Yeah. If Richard Gere were searching for a spirit animal, would it be a gerbil? It might be. I don't know. But I always wanted to know what my spirit animal was, you know? I we grew up my parents when we were little and we still lived here in the interior. Um my parents were best friends or their best friends were Native American and lived on the res. And their two daughters were the same age as me and my little brother. So we ran around in nothing but diapers, bare feet, running around the res, just enjoying life. And I always admired and envied the girls because they had this wonderful history that I didn't have. So I've done a lot of research into Native American history and mythology, specifically BC. I would love to do. I would love to do that. Have a proper sweat. Don't tell Mighty he wants to do that or MDMA. I did MDMA. I was lucky, I guess. I used drugs. I got all my drug using days out back in the day when it was safe, when drug use was relatively safe, where at least the drug you ordered was the drug you got. I mean, it might be cut and buffed and all sorts of fun stuff, but what you asked for is what you got. Nowadays, no matter what you ask for, it's got fentanyl in it. Um, and that's really, really scary. So thankfully I did my MDMA back when it really was MDMA. It was a phenomenal experience. Um, absolutely amazing experience. Same with using LSD. I did a lot of acid from about 15 years old until about, I guess, around 21, 2021. I wasn't really doing acid all very often at all anymore. But the time I spent doing acid made me the person I am today. It really opened up my mind to a lot of different ideas and experiences. Not that I'm advocating that kids do drugs. Kids don't do drugs. Drugs are not the way to go. Don't do drugs, and especially don't do drugs anymore because it's all got fentanyl in it. You don't get to experience the actual experience you're supposed to get out of the drug that you're asking for. You just get the fentanyl experience, and it's dangerous, it's deadly, it's not worth it. Oh, see, and I'm saying that just in time. Hello, you're back from the pool. Good. See, don't do drugs, kids. Don't do drugs. I didn't die, and I'm very, very lucky. Doesn't mean you're going to be just as lucky. Um, with the bowl to service my cow, what do you call that? Kidding. Fair enough. It's a public service. You're right. I wish I could have seen Bell City. What is Bell City? I feel like I should know what you're talking about, but I can't. All I get is Bell City Auto Center. That's what Google, Canadian Google gives me. A whole bunch of reviews for Bell City Auto. Oh my goodness. Canadian internet at its finest. That's what Google does me. You saying my spirit animal is the chinchilla, you think? Oh, Mr. Q is saying no, they have like the Gardens of Babylon in China right now. If you look it up, there's some weird tourist attraction. Oh, interesting. I'll have to look into that. I'd be iffy though because their penchant for tofu building, um, I would be leery about climbing up into something like that. That if China's the one that built it, but I will go and look. I will totally vicariously live through other people's pictures. Buck is saying one of the things they shot into my veins during surgery was fentanyl. Yes, it is a very, very strong drug, and it is a very good drug for its purposes. Yes, yes. Ow, ow. Oh, don't. Yeah, okay. Thank you. It's a very, very good drug for its purposes, but it's in everything. Now it's scary. And I mean, the reason I use Madonna, the reason I use medicinal marijuana as much as I do is because my only other options are heavy duty opiates and worse. And then I won't, I'd just be a zombie. And I don't want to do that. And with my experience as an addict and my long years as a recovered addict, I don't want to become an addict to my prescriptions. So I use medicinal marijuana, and it doesn't do anywhere near as much as those other drugs can do, but I'd rather put up with that excess and still be myself than be numbed, but be numbed mentally as well as physically. I've lived with it all my life. At this point, I've always hurt. I can put up with some of it. Can't give a Canadian a word with an A at the end because they don't know which way to A, eh? The world looks mighty good to me because fentanyl is all I see. And Chinese fentanyl is the issue, not the good stuff. Well, yeah, because you're not getting hospital grade fentanyl on the streets. Silly. When we had the vending machines in downtown Vancouver, the junkies were actually getting their drugs out of the vending machine and then going and selling their clean, good drugs to the kids, the school-aged kids, and then taking the money they made from the school-aged kids and buying their dirty drugs because they wanted the dirty Chinese fentanyl. I've heard it said from a few of the homeless addicts that live in my town. They want the dirty drugs. They want the fentanyl because they know the best high they're going to get is the high they get when they OD. And that's what they're looking for. Like back in my day, I was doing drugs so I could function in society. That was why I did them, was so that I could function like the average human being. These days, addicts are using it because they're looking for the high to end all highs. That's their end goal. They're wanting that OD because they know that'll be the best high that they're ever able to get. And that's weird and scary and strange to me that that's why they use because they're using to get that dirty high, you know. Fallen saying, "Same here, Digger. I got so bad with my pills, I was crushing them and snorting them. I'm ashamed of that, but that was almost 20 years ago now." Well, see, and yeah, it's the same thing. I started self-medicating with illegal drugs because um, one of the health issues that I deal with, I've got a few, but the one that kind of affects me most on a day-to-day basis is the fibro. And until I was 30 years old, um, fibromyalgia didn't exist. They didn't acknowledge it. It was a mental condition that I was faking it. I was imagining it. I was making it all up in my head. So I spent the first 30 years of my life being told I'm lying and that I'm making it up and I'm faking it and I'm doing it for attention or all of these various different reasons. And so I started self-medicating with the illegal drugs and it worked for a while. Everything works for a while, but the problem with drugs is you become dependent on them. And the more dependent you become on them, the more of them you need to get to that same level. And yeah, I admit there was a time in my life I did the same thing. I was crushing and snorting my prescribed medicine because it worked better and faster. And I was looking for more than just being able to function by that time. I was looking for the high to get me out of the pain and the hurt that I was living in. So that's and that's why now at this point in my life, I'd rather be a pothead stoner and put up with a lot more of the pain and stuff than be a prescribed addict. It's just I would rather do that. Oh, Nine Canyon saying fentanyl was one thing I was never lax about. I had a broken file and immediately got gloves on before I touched a single thing to clean up. Yeah. I saw a badge cam video. A cop arrested a dude, put him in the back of the cop car, and was driving him back to the cop shop. And he realized he must have touched some fentanyl because he felt he was ODing as he was driving to the cop shop. He was lucky. He made it to the garage, the closed garage door. But he was ODing so bad that he couldn't punch in the code to open it so that he could drive his police car in. The guy in the back seat was freaking out. Thankfully, he had been able to speak to people and let them know what was going on. So they were able to come out and help him. But yeah, he had no idea he had touched anything. And the guy he had arrested and put in the backseat of the car had nothing to do with fentanyl. The fentanyl he must have touched from someone else who was involved in the thing that caused him to go out there in the first place. But it wasn't the dude in the back seat that had been arrested and was in the back seat. It wasn't him. Someone else involved in that mess. And the cop had no idea until suddenly he's ODing while he's behind the wheel driving. Insane. And it happened so quick. Thankfully, he was saved. I'll let you know that. Yeah, the cop was safe. And the guy in the back seat was a big help in it. Apparently, EMTs are getting hit by the people they bring back with Narcan because you ruined their high. That's happening here in BC. That's exactly it. EMTs are not wanting to apply the Narcan without police being there. So now we call, like, if it's a thing that we see fairly regularly where I live. And there are definite times, when there's a hot shot out there or a hot batch out there because the sirens just don't stop. But our EMTs, they get called to the scene and the person is ODing. They are not allowed to exit the vehicle and help the person ODing until the cops arrive on scene as well. And that's kind of dicey because there are very few cops and they cover a huge expanse of ground. They don't just cover my town, they cover multiple small towns in between three major cities. So there's really not a police reaction time is not very quick where I live. And yeah, they were being attacked by the people ODing because the people wanted to OD and they were mad at the EMTs for giving them the Narcan and saving their lives. So yeah, it's insane how it works here. EP says I get the same high building a gun and shooting, different drugs, same response. Exactly. Yeah, we all get our high, our fix somewhere. Just some of us have healthier ways of getting that fix than others. Buck is saying some POS quack doctor told my wife her allergic reactions were all in her head. Never wanted to hit someone so much in my life. Yeah. Yeah. I spent 30 years of all different kinds of doctors and specialty doctors and all sorts of mental health practitioners, psychiatrists, psychologists, just regular therapists, behavioral therapy stuff, all sorts of shit, because what I was living with, what I was experiencing was not real. They didn't believe that the illness that I actually have at that time, they didn't believe it existed. And so instead, I spent the first 30 years of my life being told I was making it up, that I was lying, that I was lazy, all sorts of horrible things I was told about myself. And at 30 years old, I was at the point I was starting to believe that maybe it was just me. Maybe it was in my head. Maybe I am a lazy liar who lies. That the brainwashing, it was that bad. I was so lucky when I was referred to go and see this one doctor. He's he was one of like 3 specialists involved with fibromyalgia in all of North America, and he just happened to be in North Vancouver. And I was so lucky. I was 30 and I got referred to him, and he did a few tests and he said, this looks like fibromyalgia. And I came back to see him on the regular and we're doing different tests and stuff. And he says, everything that you're describing is what we have termed fibromyalgia. And so suddenly we tried treating it in different ways because we were treating the actual thing. We weren't treating mental problems, right? Because for most of my life, it was just up here in my head. I didn't really feel this pain. My feet didn't really feel like they were cryogenically frozen and then put into a hydraulic press. I was just imagining that stuff. So I was put on all sorts of meds my entire life, all sorts of crazy meds at very, very high doses, trying to treat something that I didn't have because they didn't believe in the thing that I did have. So I know all about doctors telling you that what you're experiencing is just made up in your head. I know all about that. It is not a good feeling at all. Yeah, not fun at all. AP says, but the devil's lettuce won't kill you no matter how much you inhale. Yeah, if it's just the sticky. And that's exactly it. I have to, on a daily basis, exist in a certain area level of pain. It's fun. It's not always in the same spot. It moves and it's, it feels different at different times. There are many different types of pain that I feel. But there is X level that I've decided I'm willing to have to live with. And then the marijuana takes care of what I can't. Like, it takes the worst of it away. But I choose to live and exist with X level amount of pain and whatnot, because I would rather have to exist and feel that than become the zombie that the doctor wants me to be. If I just took all the meds as prescribed, I would literally be a zombie with fentanyl patches stuck all over my body, doing nothing, just sitting here doing nothing. I would rather hurt more and rely on the weed to take the worst of it away, or to deal with the worst of it. Timothy Leary supposedly had his first acid trip when he was riding home on his bike. Imagine that. Yeah, I had my friends didn't want me to do acid. It's funny, everyone's so concerned about peer pressure, but it was the reverse. Not everyone in our group was doing acid. Um, but I was watching the people who were doing acid, and I was watching how much fun they were having, and I wanted to try it myself. And I had to ask a few times before they said, "Okay, are you sure?" And then they let me try it. But yeah, it was the exact opposite of peer pressure for me. I was very lucky with my friends, but yeah, uh, the acid trips that I took definitely formed me into the person I am now, for sure. Oh, Mr. Q is saying to Buck, I drove a car, a snowstorm, tripping my balls off on acid. It's better than Star Wars. I remember being in the back seat of a car in the middle of the night. My friend was driving, but I was on acid. They weren't, I was. But I was sitting in the back seat and I was looking out in the street lights along with the stars in the sky. It looked like we were in warp drive. It was so cool. It was so trippy. I literally felt like I was on the Starship Enterprise in warp. But yeah, exactly, Mr. Q. He's saying I was dumb and 18 years old. And same thing. I was dumb and like 15, 16 years old. Young and dumb. Buck is saying I've saved her life twice with EpiPens. Screw that, doctor. Exactly. Exactly. I'm really lucky that I had a GP that kept looking. I had a GP that when she heard about fibromyalgia and the specialist, she thought to send me to go see him because she'd been treating me for most of my life at that point, and she had no more of an idea as what was wrong with me than I did. But at least she believed me when I said, this is how I feel and I hurt and it's doing this. At least she believed me. I'll give her that. She had no idea what was wrong with it, but she believed that I was experiencing it. And that was huge. Because yeah, the all the different psychologists and psychiatrists and all their medicines and all their telling me I'm just making it up. It's horrible. Absolutely horrible. I really want my dad to start using CBD lotions because he's got really bad knees, really, really bad knees. And I would love him to start using a CBD lotion on his knees, but he won't because he's been sober. He's an alcoholic, recovered. He's been sober. I think he just took his 50. He's been sober a long, long time. I'll be 46. 50. He was 21. And so 46, 47, 48. No, he'll be taking his 50-year cake this year, I think. My brain is a sieve. Maybe he took his 50 last year, but I think it's this coming year. Either which way, my dad sobered up a couple of years before he even met my mom, long before I was a twinkle in his eye. But he's always been one of those. AA is his recovery, and he catches at least a meeting each week. Now that he's retired, he catches multiple meetings all week long. But because of his recovery, he's afraid to use the CBD lotion, even though I've tried to explain to him CBD without the THC means you're not getting any of the high effects. But he would rather endure the pain than tempt his sobriety using that stuff. And that's how I feel with the opiates and the painkillers. I would rather not. It's all in your head. You should try hypnosis. Yes. Yes. Mr. Q is saying I give myself stitches to avoid the doctor and spending the money, right? Like, and that's one of the great things about being a Canadian. If I slice myself and it needs stitches, I go to the hospital and they stitch me up right away and they send me on my way. They give me antibiotics if I need them or a tetanus shot if I need it. And that's it. That's all. You guys do that. And after all that is said and done and you're healed and everything, you still have a ginormous bill coming your way. And Lord knows where you're supposed to come up with the extra money to cover that bill out of nowhere. I can't imagine not having that safety net. I trust the oncologist who saved my life. She was awesome and listened. Yeah, there are good doctors out there. There are, and they do listen. And if you've got one of them, hold on to them tight. Yeah, that's all I'll say. The GP that I had on the coast for good 20 years of my life, she was awesome. AP is saying fun when your appendages feel like they're being crushed and are barely able to move. Yeah, I was being told well into my 20s that my feet and ankle pain was growing pains. Like I stopped growing when I was about 15 years old. I hit 5'4" and I stopped. But rather than admit that maybe there is something else going on, they told me that my fibro pain in my feet and ankles was actually still growing pains. Just ridiculous. But yeah, they would rather do that than listen to me and think that maybe there's something that they didn't know of yet. Can you go all the way off the table, please? All the way off? Thank you. Keep going. Almost. You're almost there. There you are. Thank you, girl. Thank you. Yeah, Mr. Q, you're lucky. You're one of those people who are relatively physically healthy and able to stitch yourself up when the need arises. And Buck is saying to AP that his wife is willing to live. She's willing to live life with a certain level of pain. With a certain level of pain. I think that's an attack against you and me. Well, I don't know that there is a way to get rid of all my pain without turning me into a zombie. So I need to make the life choice. How much am I willing to live with? Compared to how much am I willing to lose by using alternative drugs. That's why I love it when people buy me a coffee. Every time the buy me a coffee adds up to enough, I get the buyout and it covers an acupuncture treatment. And it's awesome. It's so cool. There's no way I would ever be able to afford to do that on my own. Neurodivergent one, if you've got someone I can dump into, we've been going for about 2.5 hours. So I'm ready. If you've got someone I can raid, I can totally do that. If you want to line that up. But yeah, I think there's a lot of us out there who have to decide just how much we're willing to put up with, and how much doping we're willing to live with. Well, she does that a lot. Johnny will learn. I'm willing to live life with a certain amount of pain. Okay, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying now. I'm picking up what you are laying down. If you go to Plaid, that's heavy LSD. I remember one trip I sat there. My buddy had just gotten a brand new tattoo on his arm of the Tasmanian devil. And I just sat there tripping out on that tattoo and the devil that kept spinning and spinning and spinning. And then he'd do a loop around my buddy's arm and he'd stop and he'd grin at me. And then he'd spin and then he'd do a loop around the arm and he'd stop and he'd grin at me. I don't know how long I sat there tripping off of my buddy's new tattoo, but it was fun. Oh, Jeffrey Epstein is here. He's saying, hello, everyone. Sorry I'm late. Had to refuel the jet. Fair enough. Fair enough. Jeffrey Epstein, you've got a very, very busy life. A little bit less busy, I'm sure, now that everyone thinks you're dead, right? But still quite busy. Dazzer's saying, give me more meds, but they won't. I know there's some of us that are in that. I've got another friend too. A friend, Dawn. She's got health issues as well. And there's amount of pain that she's willing to live with as well, but they're not willing to give her enough meds to take it to that point. They're constantly withholding her pain meds from her, haphazardly, or changing them on her. And it all causes not relapse, but when you're cleaning up, she's constantly going through that because her doctor prescribes her different things and high doses of this until she's been on them for a while, and then removes them suddenly completely, with nothing else. It's awful. The games her doctor plays with her, it's not cool at all. Yeah. Mr. Q saying that's kind of why I never understand the Nick Krikata Aaron thing, because why did you wait till you're married and somewhat successful to be a weirdo in life and do a bunch of dumb stuff? That's what I thought too. Like, dude, you're in your 40s. Now is not the time to be doing drugs and discovering yourself. That's what you do when you're a stupid kid and you think you're invincible, before you realize that you're not invincible and you're a stupid kid. If you're going to do it, you do it when you're young and stupid. You don't, when you're married, you have 5 kids, you're happily married, you have 5 kids, you're successful, you've got your life laid out and you know where you're going, you enjoy the good things. That is not the time to decide to try drugs. Jeffrey Epstein saying, I'll release the list when Biden is in jail or pushing up daisies. Well, I don't know. The latter will probably happen before the former. I highly doubt he'll ever see a day in jail, but still not free up in Canada. Yeah, no. Oh, what was that? Oh, okay. Yeah, no, it's not addictive, but it's his choice. I'm not sure what you're talking about, unless you're talking about the medical marijuana. The medical marijuana is definitely not free in Canada. That's for sure. Buck is saying my oncologist never guessed. If she wasn't sure, she'd order tests or call doctors that were top of the field in lymphoma research. Yeah, that's what my GP on the coast did. She never gave up. She believed me when I said, this is what I'm experiencing and this is how I feel and this is what happens. She never gave up on trying to find out what was wrong. And if it wasn't for her, I never would have been sent to this fibromyalgia specialist, and fibromyalgia is still an umbrella term for a lot of different things, but just in being able to get that label, suddenly there are all these different treatment options that people are going to be able to offer. It's amazing what a label will do for you. And it's interesting as well, just in the 16 years since I got diagnosed as fibromyalgia, they've changed their minds quite a few times on what causes it. They're still not sure what causes it, or what exactly the body is doing to cause us to feel these things. They're still not sure about it. And the treatment options have changed as their understanding of the illness has changed. But yeah, at the end of the day, the bulk of what they want to do for the fibro is just throw as many heavy pain narcotics as possible at you to help you numb the pain. And there's a certain point where that kind of numbing is not good. So yeah, I choose to be in a certain amount of pain. And that way I get to talk to you guys. Shush, 5'4", you're just above a midget. That might be so. I'm just the right size is what I've been told. 5'4" is just the right height. So Mr. Q says, I thought you were younger than me. I'm 46. I will be 46 in 5 days. I turn 46 on the 21st of July. So there may be a pop-up birthday stream Saturday night. If so, it will be a last-minute thing because that's the only way birthday parties work for me. They only happen if I throw them last minute. So there might be a pop-up birthday stream this Saturday evening. Or the next. We'll find out. When I find out, you'll find out. But yeah, I'm 45 at the moment. I got 5 more days, and then I'm 46. Yes, Mr. Q, you have the ability to do that, to go to a certain store and buy certain medicines and use that if you need the treatments. I don't have that option, unfortunately. Buck is saying I was joking, basically saying AP and I are a pain to you. Yeah, I know. I figured. I took me a minute and a second reading, but I figured it. The same place you got your other medicine, says Mr. Q. Yep. Hello, Squab. How you doing? I used to be able to get fish antibiotics. Yeah, for your fish. Yes, I know there was a run on fish meds in the pet stores for a bit. That made me smile a little. Well, I'm glad, Bishop. I'm glad. We are the show for a raid. Yes, I am totally ready for you to raid people. If you are ready. And then we've got... Oh, the greatest time of year is coming up to trip without tripping. You don't need LSD. It'll just be the Persean meteor shower, and that's like a week and a half away. I never get to see it here. It's always overcast. Whenever there's anything really cool happening in the skies where I live, it's overcast without fail. I'm really, really annoyed. I never get to see the meteor showers. I never get to see the northern lights here. I saw the northern lights more often when I lived in suburbia than I do living out here in the rural interior of BC. It's weird. Facebook's an X really killed my accounts because I directed the media to the... We busted Epstein day 1, May 93. Oh, okay. Yeah. Facebook doesn't like me anymore because of my alternative information during the COVID era. They really, really, really didn't like me. So I just stopped going. I stopped putting stuff on Facebook when I lost a childhood friend over my posting of alternative ideas about COVID. I've known him since grade 4, and he got really, really mad at me for posting alternative ideas or alternative information. He got so angry with me, rather than just not read the posts, not look at them. He decided to end our friendship. Just like that. So yeah, I stopped doing anything on Facebook at that point. And I haven't talked to a lot of friends on the coast since that time. I haven't talked to anyone on the coast for the same reason. I don't want to lose any more friends over something stupid like that. It sucks. Bishop is saying pain is my constant companion. Side effect of the serum. Enlarged heart and liver. Liver is just pain all the time. Yeah. So you and I are kind of in a similar boat. There's always pain. It's just you got to decide how much you're willing to take to live with in exchange for being able to do it. AP says I'll be 40 in a week. Dude, bullshit. You're not that close to me in my birthday. We'll talk in Discord. I had no idea. We should have a dual birthday stream. That's what we should do. And yes, I'm good to go. If you want to If you want to raid someone, please do. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for nearly 3 hours shooting the shit. It's a load of fun, and doing this is really a large part of my therapy for my health issues. So thank you so much. I love you to bits, and I will see you potentially for a surprise birthday stream this Saturday. Otherwise, I'll see you Monday morning on Just Kidding LLC. Bye.
Topics change from day to day. Science, art, or history's play. No path too twice, no trail too thin. She dives right in where to begin. Nothing's too obscure. She'll dig and take a spirit so pure. From ancient lore to future dreams, every question finds its gleam. Wherever she goes, answers will follow. Into the depths or up high in the hollow. Curiosity calls. She's ready to find solutions to everything on her mind.